So I'm back at the junkyard today, and finally I'm buying most of these scooters today. I've already bought about 16. When you maybe saw my last video, I was walking through and I didn't know prices, and I bought about 16 of the best ones, and then the pricing for the rest was just, it wasn't quite right for me, so I left them. And then as I thought might happen, the chaps who were selling them came back to me and said, look, we just need these things gone. So today I have, or like last Friday, I agreed a deal to buy another 38, but I'm actually going to leave about 3 that I don't want as well. So all of these ones you see in front of you on camera, and most of the ones in this yard, I have bought, and I've paid a really good price for them. I'm not going to say maybe what it is, but this is what I'm doing. So I'm going to just strip these really fast. I'm not going to mess about. I'm going to leave a lot of the crap parts behind and just leave piles of junk for the stuff I don't want, because the price I've paid for these and the volume of them, I just can't afford to take my time too much. So for example, all the seats, I'm just going to rip off in a minute, throw them all in a big corner, and I'm just going to strip off the bits I want and leave the rest. So this one, for example, just started work on this, and I wasn't going to film, but I thought, hey, people might find this whole process interesting. I'm literally collecting 40 of these scooters and bikes. So this one I've just started on. I'm going to take the seat off, take off all the plastics, pile them up over there, and then just leave the pile of junk and then take what I want. So that's what I'm doing. I won't film it all, but I will touch in at key moments, bring you guys along for the journey. I've started on these Hondas, and I'm going through and just ripping off everything in one go. So like all the plastics are just getting ripped off. The good thing about these bikes being so old and rubbish is that a lot of these plastics just fall off. I'm taking off all the same parts at the same time, so it's the same tool. So for example, here I've got about 7 of these. These are cast aluminium rear grab handles. They will go straight to the scrapyard and I'll get some money back. Here's all the seats I've taken off. These are, you know, sellable, but I'm not going to bother. The guys here at the scrapyard will just crush these up and recycle them. Not showing number plates. So yeah, I'm just going through literally every panel on these bikes is just going in the junkyard. They are sellable, some of them, but I'm not going to spend my time on that. Feels like it's a lot quicker to strip 6 at once instead of just 1. So I'm doing these 6 or 7 quite similar Hondas all together, and I'm not messing about, I'm just ripping them apart. This is my piles of parts, and I'm just ripping off all the bits. So this whole front end, I might just keep these bits because I think these will sell, these little trims around the headlights, and the headlights I will keep as well, but the rest of these panels are just going in the trash. So here's one that I've taken off most of the parts that looked a lot like this one about 10 minutes ago. So yeah, hot work out here. This is the yard I'm in. There's literally probably 500 cars here. There's another whole section around the corner, so some good cars here. But all I've got access to is the motorbikes. So I'll crack on and I'll try and get these Hondas done in the next couple of hours. So fighting on with these Hondas, and I've got this one running. This is a 67 plate, and I have got the clocks on, 17,000 miles on the clock, and the engine is running well. So that's a result to have an engine that is confirmed running. So I'll put this one aside. Some of these engines are just going to get stripped, like this one for example. It's a 2012. The mileage on this one is quite high, I think. I'll check again, but if so, I'm just going to strip this one. Couldn't get this one to fire up, but what I am going to do is turn that off for a minute. I'm going to get all of the clocks from these other bikes and put them onto this one, because this electrical system has fired up. So at least then I can get mileage on all the clocks to sell them, because it makes it much easier to sell. So that's a result to have a running engine there, and I will either sell it or just put it aside to use myself. This one I couldn't get to fire up. I think this should run as well. So there we are, a bit of a progress update. It is so hot today, but yeah, just stripping all these Hondas. So just to check in again, I've done a couple of the Hondas and this is how they end up. Just a pile of parts that I can use and sell. These are the scrap aluminium pieces, but the rest of these are sellable parts. The engines I'm just going to take all in one piece like this, and then I'll process them a bit later on. This is one that I've taken all the fairings off, and then I'll do the same treatment here. And this is the one that I'm working on right now. So with these scooters, I put them on the center stand, and then I strip down the whole front piece by piece. These are the parts that I've taken off. Not much on this one, but these are the parts that I want, the small, easy to ship stuff that's light and so on. So I will continue and finish this one off, and then it will just be a frame left that I'll leave in the pile of scrap frames, and I'll grab the whole engine as one piece. And then when I've done that one, I'll do this one. So I've got a lot of work to do here. This is the next one after those two, and then I'll probably do this Honda as well. Basically I'm doing all the same similar bikes all in one go. So these Hondas are for today, or depending how long I take, then I'll probably do these three as a group, same deal. And then I'll do probably these two Yamaha NMAXs, and there's another one over there. So I'll do those three Yamaha NMAXs together. These are really good breakers. The engines on these bikes always break when they get to about 50,000 miles. So the engines on these are good sellers. And then wheels sell. There's a lot of good parts on NMAXs, so this one will make a lot of money. Considering that I've paid £50 for it, even though I'm going to throw away all the plastics, it will be a good breaker for sure. And then another day I'll get onto all those ones there. So yeah, there we are. I'll continue with these Hondas. This video, if you don't want to see it, don't watch it. This is what I'm doing. This is what I do for work. So I'm not trying to make the most amazing videos, as I said. I'm just documenting my day's work as I go along. So if you don't like it, don't watch the video. So yeah, I'll crack on with these bikes, and I'll check in again soon. Well, it's the end of a very hot day. It's about 2:30, but I've had enough for the day. So what do I end up with? When it's all said and done, that's what I've got from a scooter. So not great, but it's by choice. I just don't want the big stuff. I could try and sell the big stuff, but I'm not interested. That is from a Honda SH 2017, and this one is a 2015 Honda SH 125 mode. So again, I've paid £50 each for these bikes, and like one or two bits might sell. Like for example, this is a regulator. I would need to check on prices, but let's guess that's 30 quid. And this lock set here, let's say that's 30 quid, right? So in two parts, I've got my money back. So what I don't want to do is just get stuck with loads and loads of massive parts. Not to mention as well, over here, I'm stacking up all the scrap steel, so I will sell that at the end, or when I've got a good amount of it. This is irony aluminium, so this goes for about £320 a tonne in the UK. This stuff is really good. This is the wiring looms. That is 2,200 per tonne. So that stuff will add up really well. There's another pile of stuff. I might block out the number plate, but again, like, I get a pile of parts, and then this is the scrap wheels. So I'll come back with the right tools, cut those tyres off, and then I'll take those wheels for scrap again. Those wheels go for 1,300 a tonne at my scrapyard. So not bad bits of scrap money as well. I just want to get through these ASAP, so I'm not messing about. I just come here for like 3 hours and then go home. So I've done these two bikes today, and I'll come back probably tomorrow and do some more. See you then. It's a new day, and this is the bike I'm working on today, a Yamaha YBR125. This bike has definitely seen better days, but it's got a lot of parts on it, especially given how much I've paid for it. So the engine actually has a hole in the case, but I've got nothing to lose at all. So I'm going to try and start the bike. It does turn over on the ignition. I pulled out the spark plug, and so there's a spark. So this bike clearly won't have much petrol in the carbs because it's been sitting for so long. So off camera, I'm going to grab some petrol in this hose, throw it down inside the cylinder, see if I can get this engine running, and hopefully it'll be a good runner. A slight complication which I'll show you here. This is the dipstick, and there is literally no oil in this bike. so I can't start it clearly with no oil. I have put some petrol down into the cylinder, and I'll throw that spark plug back on. So I think it would start. So before I go any further, what I'm going to do is something that I shouldn't do, but I will anyway. I'm going to grab some oil out of a bike that I don't want the engine from. Maybe this one actually, because I've already tested this engine and this engine is no good. So I'm going to grab the oil out of this engine, put it in the Yamaha just to see if it will fire over, and yeah, go from there. I'm grabbing the oil out of this one instead, but this might be too bad to use. Let's have a look when I grab this oil filter out. There's not much of it. This engine, there's no massive chunks of metal. It'll probably be okay if I can get enough of it. This engine is the Honda ANC, and it had 85,000 miles on it, so I'm not going to use this for anything. There's just not much oil in it, so might need to get oil from 2 different bikes. We'll see. I know you guys are going to be shouting at me in the comments about this, but I'm in a scrapyard. I've paid £50 each for these bikes. This engine is borderline scrap anyway for the mileage and condition. You can see there's a big hole in it there, and realistically the most likely outcome is I strip this down for spares, but I might as well just see if it's a good running engine, because if so I can use it. I won't sell this one, it's too high mileage. You can see 20,500 miles, so I don't tend to sell high mileage engines, but I could probably put it in another bike that's blown up. So for the purposes of this test, if I can get myself about a litre out of these bikes, I think it'll be fine. It's just for a quick start up. So I'll drain some more oil from somewhere else because this doesn't look like enough, and then I'll throw it in that Yamaha. Well, of course it doesn't escape me that there's a reason this bike has no oil. So I'm guessing that the bike hit something here and it was dropped on its right hand side. You can see the damage kind of ties in with that. These forks are bent to that side, so I think it could have fallen on this side. I'm saying that oil's just drained out of this hole. I have had a look underneath. I can't see any obvious damage, but I'll be ready with the pan here, and if it does start leaking out, I'll just call it a day and collect the oil that falls back out. This is by far the worst oil I've ever put into a bike, but again, it's a Yamaha YBR in a scrapyard. We are where we are, so I might be able to do it on camera. Let's have a go. This is asking for trouble, but this is how to make content, I guess. So I'm just going to put this whole lot in there, and I'm going to stop for a minute so I can see something there that I want to fish out. I don't want to take the piss. I know that you guys will be shouting at me in the comments, and I would too, but understand this engine is a scrap engine. I paid 50 quid for this bike, so don't judge me too much, please. But if it does run, then with a new set of oil and a bit of service and so on, it might be a good engine. So it's worth a go, because if I don't do this, it's definitely just getting scrapped. So that's where we are. I guess that's all the oil in there. I'll stop there because it's now the worst oil going down there. So let's call that a day. Let's just assume there's enough engine oil in there. Put this underneath just for safety. Then I'll chuck this back in. Let's see what this bike does. So as I say, I've already put in a bit of petrol into the cylinder, which it might have evaporated by now, but let's have a go. Oil in, there's a spark, there should be petrol now. So battery should still be on. Let's see what happens. If I prime it a few times, that might help. That's just to give the fuel pump a chance. I have checked the petrol tank, there's quite a bit of petrol in there, although it does say empty. Let's just check again. That looks pretty full to me, so I'm going to say the fuel gauge is just not working, it's unplugged or something. Or maybe it will come on if I leave the bike on for a bit. So, as it primes, let's have a go. Sometimes that helps. Sound great. There's I guess exhaust coming out of that hole. hole in the engine. Doesn't sound amazing. In fact, it does sound like a tractor, but it runs. So I'll call it there because obviously you've seen the oil. But I'll take that as a win. So that engine I won't be selling. That will be going in my parts warehouse. This is a 58 plate bike, so you know these are only worth about 500–600 quid when they're done. So I'll just put that aside. At some point I'll buy a bike that needs an engine, and that's a win. So on with stripping this one. I'm not going to mess about. I'm going to basically bin the seat. I might keep the fairings in the tank because they're not too bad. Front mudguard has a crack, but it's also not the worst, and it might be useful. So I'll see how I go. I'm just going to get on with it and strip this bike down for parts. Continuing with a couple of new bikes. This is a Lex Moto. We've already pulled off the petrol tank and a few bits. This is scrap, but I want the fuel pump from it. They sell for about £40, and this is all the kind of stuff that I want. Just little bits like indicators and small stuff that's easy to ship. This is probably scrap, don't know what that is, but just small bits. This one's got a stainless steel exhaust, but again that's probably too big to ship, so that will go for scrap. But stuff like shocks, they sell calipers. These are really good to sell, ECUs, really small things that you can just put a high price on and put on the shelf. The starter relays also sell, and if they don't, you can get about 50p's worth of scrap copper out of them if you can be bothered. These are good, anything that's small and will easily ship. So that's the Lex Moto, and then I'm working on the Honda PCX, and I started filming because I've just thrown a battery on it, and this one was stolen recovered, so I'm going to see if I can get it to run. It does fire, the ignition does come on, so you can see headlight is just coming on there when I do that. And we have got 48,000 miles on the clock, so that's why I always try and connect the battery up, because I don't really want to put a 48,000 mile engine on the shelf. That said, let's see if it starts. Might need the stand off. These bikes can be quite difficult to start because you just don't know what's happened to them. So this one's got the kill switch on, so let's try again. It might not go. It could also be that it's got a chipped key. The key's here, not here obviously, so I've started the ignition on the bypass. Can't see any lights for the immobiliser though, so I'm not sure. Well, I'll play around with this off camera. If I get it going I'll report back, but probably won't be able to. But the main thing I wanted was that mileage, 48,000, just so I know what to do with this engine. Okay, I got the engine running. I don't know really what I did. All I did was put the bike on the stand, which it seemed to like, so maybe that's the thing. Doesn't seem right, but putting it on the stand helped. The engine actually sounds really good, so I'll take it all back about the 48,000 miles. I'll probably put this on the shelf. That engine sounds fine, so that's why I want to try and start these if I can, because that will be a decent engine to have on the shelf. Again, I don't really sell these engines because they're just too heavy, too big to ship, but we'll see. So that's pretty good result to get that started. Have the clocks. There might be just a tiny little noise from the cam chain or something like that, or the valves, but that's to be expected for a mileage this high. So okay, well it runs, so I'll crack on and get this bike apart. This is the mileage for the Lex Moto, 14,300. This is the next one that we are going to crack on with. Just an update on the other one. This is all the bits that came off it. Just covering up a number plate there. That's all the parts that came off the bike that was being stripped earlier. And I got the Honda PCX stuff, so what I'm doing now is just boxing up all of those parts. They're just going to go into this cardboard box and I'll sort them out later on at home. And then over here, this is sort of the remains of we couldn't get the engine out for the Lex Moto because the exhaust bolts are seized, and I'm just going to leave it like that and go off to the shredder. So yeah, this is the pile of all the frames that have been stripped so far. So most of them have gone as bare bones, but some of them are going to go as however they come apart. So yeah, that's where we are. Just starting work on another bike here. This is a Sym NHX. The other one got demolished. That's the Lex Moto that was going on earlier. This is a 2022 Sym NHX. Quite a nice looking bike, but Cat B for a reason. It's got pretty heavy front damage. Forks actually look okay. They look like they're in line, and I've just got this engine to fire on. So I'll demonstrate that. It sounds okay-ish, a little bit rattly. Probably not one I'd want to sell. A little bit of cam chain rattle there, but it does run, so it could be worse. I'm just going to see if it will quieten down a little bit. So that's the engine running. So this bike is next on the chopping block, and all parts are coming off right now. This is the end of the Yamaha YBR. I thought I'd just catch on camera. This is why some of these bikes are Cat Bs. Look at that frame. Straight down the line and then off to the left. So the YBR is no more, and this Sym NHX is coming apart. We're just cracking on. It's been a good day. We've got a lot done today. It's about 4 o'clock, so getting towards the end of the day, but we've got all these little piles of parts. We've got stuff in the van to take home. We've got all these other bikes to do next time. So as I say, not trying to win any Oscars with this video, just documenting this job as I do it. Next time I guess we'll carry on with that one, and then probably clear off some of these ones here, and we're getting there. Like the back row is almost done. This is the pile of trash. It's just getting huge. This is why these bikes are a nightmare to break if you haven't got a proper yard, because if you were doing this at home, you would literally have that lot to deal with. As it is, these guys have got, you know, this is a massive yard. They've got facilities, and they'll have waste agreements and stuff. But yeah, we're getting there for sure. So I've now cleared off this whole corner. This one is not mine. All these ones that say no on, I said I don't want. This one, it was just too big for me. And also some of these bikes were a bit expensive. So like this bike here, this is a Yamaha Tri-City, that's called. And this list price was £860, which I would have had a discount, but there was literally no way I was buying this. It's absolutely trashed anyway. So yeah, that can stay there. This is a pile of scrap wheels that I'm sort of putting together, and I will probably come with a tool and just cut these tyres off. And then I'll grab all those rims for scrap. At my scrapyard, they go for £1.30 a kilo, so worth doing if you've got a good pile of them. So that's it for the day today. And yeah, I guess next clip you'll see will be the next day, so I'll see you then. We are cracking on with a new day. This is the Sym, which is being stripped down. I'm going to have a look at this Yamaha NMAX. This is a 2017 bike. GL17, and there's one on eBay at the moment that has got a blown engine, so I'm going to have a look and see if I can get this engine to run. If so, I'll pull this out as one complete unit, and then I'll try and buy the one on eBay that needs an engine. So I need to find the battery. I guess it's under here, so I'm going to plug on a new battery. We've got a key, so hopefully this one will run, because it would have run when it was crashed obviously. So let's see what it does. So engine is running well, sounds good. This bike has got 12,035 miles on the clock, so pretty cool. That's a nice running engine. So that will be going in the donor bike if I can buy it. It's an auction, so we'll see. By the time this video comes out, I'll do an update at the end and say if I want it or not, but that's pretty nice. So this bike again was £50. These engines sell, I've sold these a few times for about £400 to £500. Last one I sold was 500, so that's a nice bit of stock. It's a bit smoky.
trick you can do. Put the hand over the exhaust. It's a bit smoky, that's the only thing, but it's not that bad for a bike that's sat here for who knows how long. I'll take that any day. So yeah, that little trick I was doing, I'll just turn this off. If you hold your hand over the exhaust of a bike like this, if pressure builds up, that is a good indication that there is strong compression on the engine. So this bike looks like a decent buy. I will also take some panels from this one because these panels do break, and I sell these for about £40 each side. So any panels that aren't damaged I'll take. So enough waffling, I'm going to crack on and strip this Yamaha NMAX. Well, I sort of stopped filming after a bit because I was just cracking on, but this is sort of where we landed. So there is a load of bikes on my right that I have not bought, so I stopped filming after a bit because I was just getting busy. But this is where things land towards the end of this saga. So along here are a load of bikes that I didn't buy. These are just crappy Chinese and big ones that I just didn't want. I might buy them later. There's a couple of big ones over there still, but okay, so I did cut short filming at the scrapyard because it just got too much. I wanted to just finish, so I missed a bit of footage there, but you can see where things end up. So this is one of my locations, and I've ended up with all these boxes with all these parts in. So for example, if I just grab one off the shelf over here, I've just got all these parts that came from those bikes. So this is a Yamaha NMAX headlight, and this is from the Gilera Runner ST125. You can see I've got these codes on. So all these parts are being sold. I've got an eBay channel. So again, this is the Honda SH125 2016, the white one. So these are the parts that I really like, these little ones. So this, for example, is about 15 quid online. And so when that sells, I can just get it posted off. So this whole scrapyard adventure will be a really nice kind of Kickstarter for me. I started a full-time bike business and mostly buying and selling bikes, but I will be selling parts from that scrapyard as well. So yeah, loads of good stock here. For example, here's one of the PCXs. This is the 2018 to 20 red one. Again, paid for the whole bike. And a lot of these parts, I mean, there's loads of parts in here. These are all about £20 each, I would say, on average. So for example, switches there, and fuel pump and so on. So really cool adventure. So I was pleased to have bought them all. I will carry on selling all these parts, and I will be back. There are a few more bikes over there for me to buy, but this is where I ended up. I've scrapped also a load of parts. So the wheels, most of them went through this tyre machine, and I pulled off all the tyres and I sold the wheels for scrap. That made me some good amount of cash as well. So yeah, looking good. And I'll leave things there. So thanks for watching my video, and I'll catch you on the next one very soon.